Let's go on to John Fakler. Mr. Fakler, we're going to go to you with this story. This is a story that I selected. A bunch of different publications wrote about it throughout the United States as well as the world. I went with this story. It's actually a magazine coming out of India because I thought they had a pretty interesting perspective. The name of the publication is called Outlook. Outlook. It is a weekly news magazine coming out of India. It's called Outlook. Let me read the headline, first couple graphs, and then I will ask you to provide some comment. Headline: Billionaire Bunker, Miami's most exclusive island. Nestled discreetly within the picturesque landscape of Florida lies a tiny secret island full of billionaires. Here's all about Miami's most exclusive islands, Billionaire Bunker. And first couple graphs from Mr. Fakler. Did you know a little secret island is hidden subtly among Florida's stunning landscapes and is home to a very small group of wealthy individuals who reside there? Indian Creek, a small exclusive island in Miami with only a limited number of homes, is also known as Billionaire's Bunker. Due to its residents' extraordinary wealth and notoriety, billionaire businessman Carl Icahn, supermodel Adriana Lima, Spanish musician Julio Iglesias, American footballer Tom Brady, and Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump are all just a few of the notable residents. The latest entry as the list is Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, who recently bought a $68 million mansion in the area. Indian Creek, the 300-acre private island in Biscayne Bay, is recognized not just for its stunning beauty, but also for being one of the Miami Beach's wealthiest, most securely segregated neighborhood on a global scale. Mr. Fakler, why don't you give us your take on the fact that Jeff Bezos, who has basically stepped away from Amazon quite a bit, he has roots down here in Miami, spent a number of years here, might have even been born here. I think he's up in North Miami or so, but he's just dropped down big money to buy one of these mansions in Indian Creek. What do you make of that? What do you make of the fact that a news magazine out of India is actually talking about this tiny secret island called Indian Creek? What's your take, Mr. Fakler?
Well, I think a lot of the fascination has to do with we're starting to see more of these enclaves for rich people where they're parking their money in real estate. And I think that's a fascinating international story. Personally, it's not my demographic. I tend to stay away from enclaves, having some bad situations that have happened to me in the past. I won't go into too much detail, but a lot of these enclaves have, like the island, have their own police departments. They have their own marine police patrols as well. I got caught once commuting back in the day when I commuted from Boca to Miami.
Boca Raton, which is in Palm Beach County, for
yes.
The audience members who maybe aren't familiar with South Florida.
Correct. And, I made the mistake of driving through one of these very wealthy enclaves where the homes are, I think it's about $25 million a piece. Again, they have their own patrol.
And for what it's worth, Mr. Fakler, if I can interrupt, Eric Clapton, the musician, actually recorded a album at one of these homes, and the album is named after the home. Now, some of the music critics out there or some of the music trivia experts are going to wonder what it is, and I think it's 501 Ocean or so. I have to get back to it. I will put it in the description of the podcast. But
that's
go
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fakler.
Yeah, so this was, I guess, an enclave called Surfside Beach, which, by the way, is north of the Surfside where we had that condo collapse. Wasn't too far from there. Where there's
Mr. Fakler, I think you're talking about Golden Beach, not Surfside Beach.
I'm sorry, Golden Beach. Yes. Thank you for correcting me.
Okay.
So I got pulled over in Golden Beach, a very similar enclave with their own police department. I was very cognizant of the speed limit. I drove very slowly. It was dark. It was at night. I get pulled over. Cop comes over. He goes, "You know why I pulled you over?" I said, No, please inform me. He goes, "Your license plate bulb was out. This is why I got pulled over, not because I was speeding or anything." And he took a long time. He's looking for, he's walking around with the flashlight, looking for, I don't know what he was looking for. It took forever to run my number, my plate. Eventually, I got out of it and I left, but I forgot about the ticket and didn't pay it. I wound up getting my license suspended, all because of a license plate bulb. And I got reinstated, of course, once I paid the ticket. But I mean, just goes to show you, be careful of these wealthy enclaves.
Mr. Fakler, if I can, I would suggest maybe you get one of these BAPE fashion designed inner Miami shirts that's going for a pretty hefty figure. Maybe if you had one of those on, if the police officer actually pulled you over, they would have gave you a pass if they thought that you were, of the right economic demographic.
That's a great point. Or a celebrity, because I wished at that time that, boy, if I was a celebrity, I probably would have got off.
You should have told him you were on the Miami Reporters Roundtable podcast. Anybody wants to send a comment, you can send it at Miami RRP at Miami RRP.
Great point.
Now, I will show you that my memory isn't that bad. I said Eric Clapton's record back in the day that was actually recorded in Golden Beach. I said 501 Ocean. I was a little bit off. It was called 461 Ocean Boulevard. So
Is that Golden Beach?
Golden Beach. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Golden Beach. See, so even our colleagues learned something on this podcast.
Well, I was driving a ratty, beat up Sonata at the time. They weren't going to mistake me as a celebrity.
Yeah, you were a little bit of a dodgy looking individual. Katherine, you actually wrote about Jeff Bezos doing a deal to purchase in Indian Creek. Were you able to find out anything, or is there anything you could sort of share with the audience?
So there was a strong rumor that it was not him, and that it was actually one of the neighbors adjacent to the property, which obviously turned out to not be true. But he is I'm 99% sure will knock that home down. So 68 million for dirt.
Tear down.
Yeah.
Nice. The $68 million tear down.
Right. But I will say, and which by the way was a record for Indian Creek, I think. I will say it's interesting because it's just it just shows kind of like how the 1% is just getting wealthier and wealthier and doesn't really matter to them what they spend. So, I mean, within reason. So I think that that divide between what you used to be able to buy a waterfront home on the Venetian Islands for is now just completely out of reach for your normal millionaire, So
and I will say at one point, Don Shula, the Hall of Fame coach for the Miami Dolphins, the late Don Shula, he had a home there as well as if you want to go back in the day, there was a banker out of Miami who got taken down with federal crimes related to banking, who also had a property in this island. So this is a very distinct property. Memory serves me correct. It's only somewhere in the ballpark, Katherine. Correct me if I'm wrong. Less than 50 lots make up this entire island and this entire village. And then there's a golf course in the middle, correct?
yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.